You wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Tonight on Requiem Radio, we slip into a dance that started long ago, on ivory keys gone yellow with time, a grieving widow, a haunted piano, and a young woman who took one step too far into the music of the dead. Tonight's story is called Clara's Waltz.
They didn't mean to disturb anything. They only wanted to move the piano. It had stood for nearly a century in the parlor of an old brownstone in Bond, tucked beside the Rhine, near where the air always smells faintly of stone and rain. The house had belonged briefly to Clara Schumann, not during her peak, but after Robert's death, when sorrow settled in her hands like lead and wouldn't let go. The piano stayed behind when she left, upright, modest, unspectacular, but it held the memory of her touch. And one winter, the foundation that preserved the house decided to loan it out, sent it to Leipzig, to a conservatory hosting a tribute to women composers, just for a few months. The movers, seasoned as they were, said it felt heavier than it should, like dragging a coffin full of secrets. One of them muttered. They placed it in a recital salon, small room, good acoustics. A sign beside it read, "Clara Schumann's personal, please do not play without permission." But you know how that goes. Teresa Lang, doctoral student, music scholar, pianist, bright and serious, the sort who didn't waste words, stayed late one rainy afternoon. She sat at the piano, pressed a few keys, just to feel it. It was dry, delicate, strangely warm in tone. She played one of Clara's early waltzes, something from Opus 6, simple on paper, sentimental by reputation. But on that piano it felt different, more urgent, like grief polished into elegance. That night, she dreamed of mirrors. She was walking down a hallway lit by gaslight. Mirrors lined the walls. Her reflection followed, step for step, until it didn't in one long pain. Her mirror self stood still, smiling. And beside her stood a man. She couldn't see his face, just the outline of old-world tailoring, a gloved hand extended an invitation. And behind it all, the faint sound of piano, a waltz spinning slow. Teresa didn't tell anyone about the dream, but she went back to the piano again and again. She played Clara's pieces, then Robert's, then back to Clara, always returning to the same waltz. It began to show up in her humming, in the rhythm of her steps, in the way her fingers twitched in class. The melody looped in her head like a record with no end. And the dreams deepened. The hallway stretched longer, the gas lamps flickered, the man's face sharpened. Always the music, always the mirrors. When the conservatory held its closing gala, a professor asked Teresa to play something short, something from Clara. It felt appropriate. She agreed, but she didn't choose the piece. She sat at the piano, lights dimmed, hands touched the keys, and the waltz came. She played it slow, but not by choice. Her foot lingered on the pedal. The rhythm leaned, then swayed somewhere between the second and third strain. She felt it, that shift, like the room folded inward, like the piano was breathing in the polished black of the lid. She saw a flicker, a reflection, a couple dancing. She turned, but no one stood behind her. The audience was silent, tense, frozen. And then he entered. The man from her dreams, solid now, not smoky or ghostly, real frock coat, polished boots, eyes like water on slate. He walked toward her and raised his hand, not in menace, in invitation. Teresa's right hand slipped on the keys, the music stuttered, and just like that, the moment collapsed. The lights came up. The audience blinked, disoriented. She bowed and walked out without a word. She never touched that piano again. She gradually teaches now, keeps her hands mostly to herself. Some say her music's changed, tighter, colder. She wrote a few waltzes afterward, but she never performs them. Once, at a faculty recital, someone asked her to play a Schumann piece. She smiled, polite but firm, and said, "Only when the mirrors are covered." The piano, it was sent back to Bonn, but the curators didn't put it in the museum again. It sits in storage now, crated, sealed. One of the handlers claims when he closed the lid he heard it. 3 notes, played soft. The beginning of a waltz no one had asked for.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was Clara's Waltz. Some tunes were never meant to end. They're just waiting for the right hands, the right tempo, and maybe a mirror or two. Ain't gonna be no more tonight. Y'all rest easy, and don't let the dog drive you home.